If you ever find a cave entrance that feels warmer than the air outside, don't step in. That's not folklore. That's the cave breathing. And sometimes what it exhales isn't air. It's a mistake you can't take back. People treat caves like nature's basements. Cold, quiet, harmless. But caves don't play by surface rules. Down there you can do everything right and still die politely, without drama, without a headline. Just a light that keeps shining after you stop moving. In 2009, in Utah, a 26-year-old man named John Edward Jones entered Nutty Putty Cave. It was considered easy, a family cave. He crawled into a tight section, got angled downward, and gravity collected him like a debt. Rescuers worked for more than 27 hours with ropes and pulleys, fighting rock like it was gripping him back. The rigging failed. The stone won. He died upside down, trapped in a space barely wider than his shoulders. They sealed the cave afterward because they couldn't retrieve him. That place isn't a cave anymore. It's a locked coffin. That's the version people share because it makes the danger feel simple. Tight spaces, panic, bad choices, a cautionary tale with clean edges. But Never Enter This Cave System isn't about one cave. It's about what happens when a cave system gets large enough to have its own weather, its own chemistry, and its own ways of erasing you. The longest mapped cave system on Earth is Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, with more than 400 miles recorded. Recorded. Not finished. Not understood. Just measured by humans who lived long enough to write it down. And beyond the mapped tunnels, there are miles of darkness that don't appear in guidebooks, because caves are not hallways. They're networks, veins, wounds in stone that keep opening where water finds weakness. Inside, the temperature stays nearly constant. Your headlamp cuts a little circle of certainty, and the rest is not empty. It's simply unlit. The air smells like wet rock, old metal, and something sour, like breath trapped in a jar. The walls sweat. Your fingertips come away gritty as if the cave is shedding. Then the real danger starts. The stuff you can't see. Carbon dioxide is heavier than oxygen. It sinks into low chambers, pits and dead ends and pools there like invisible water. Old miners called it choke damp. You can walk into it and your body won't scream poison. It will whisper sleep. Your thoughts get soft. Your legs get clumsy. You sit down for 1 second to rest, and that's the end. No struggle, just quiet. In some cave systems, there's hydrogen sulfide. At low levels, it smells like rotten eggs, but at higher levels, it can numb your sense of smell completely. People take one breath, think the odor went away, and keep going. The cave doesn't correct them. Flooding is worse, because it turns a cave into a trap that moves. Caves are storm drains that never explain themselves. Rain miles away can send a wall of water into passages that were dry 10 minutes ago. In 2018, in Thailand's Tham Luang Cave, 12 boys and their coach were trapped when floodwaters rose. The rescue became global news because it worked. But one diver died, and the part people forget is the simplest truth. Survival wasn't guaranteed. It was borrowed. Now here's where the official warnings end. Because there are cave systems that aren't tourist sites, they're unlisted, gated, welded shut, hidden behind brush on private land with signs nailed up like prayers. And if you talk to experienced cavers, you keep hearing a strange line, repeated in different states by different voices. The map doesn't match. Not, we got turned around. Not, we took the wrong fork. The map doesn't match. A corridor bends where it shouldn't. A drop is deeper than recorded. A room that should be dry is sweating. People who measure caves for a living still say it, like they're admitting something embarrassing. Stone isn't supposed to change fast. Officially it doesn't. But caves are slow machines. Water chews them. Temperature stresses them. Microquakes shift them. A single boulder can fall and erase a route you needed to survive. Rotting timbers from old mining cuts can collapse without warning. And in a cave, back isn't a direction. It's a sequence of correct decisions. Miss one, and you don't return to the entrance. You return to the earth. Then comes the part nobody wants in a report, the sound. There are chambers where your footsteps come back delayed, stretched, like something is following with a longer stride. There are tunnels where wind forces itself through fissures and creates a low tone you feel in your teeth and chest. Infrasound, the kind that produces nausea, dread, and the sensation of being watched. Not because you are, but because your body thinks you are. Some people swear they hear their name. Not clearly, not spoken, just the pattern of it hidden inside dripping and wind. Like the cave is trying out your identity the way it tests stone for weaknesses. And if you react, if you turn your light, you spend the 3 currencies that matter down there: time, battery, and calm. Here's how it usually ends. Someone pushes past the first choke point, the tight squeeze that scrapes your pack and steals your confidence. They go deeper because turning around feels like admitting fear. They find old survey marks on the wall, faded paint, arrows, numbers, evidence that someone else was here, or wanted you to believe they were. Then the air changes. Warmer, wetter, heavier. Breathing feels like pulling through cloth. A headache begins behind the eyes like a slow clamp. They call it adrenaline because that's less frightening than the truth. They drop into a lower chamber through a narrow slot, polished by water and boot soles. The descent is easy. Too easy. At the bottom, the darkness feels pressurized, like the cave is closer to your skin than it should be. Drips fall somewhere out of reach, steady as a heartbeat. They look back up. The slot doesn't look the same from below. It looks tighter, steeper, like the cave adjusted the geometry while they weren't watching. Panic starts as breathing, not screaming. Sweat cools into a chill that bites. A glove slips. A tool clatters, bounces, and disappears into a crack that doesn't give it back. So they move forward, because humans always move forward when backward looks impossible. And that's why you should never enter this cave system. It doesn't need claws or legends or monsters. It only needs you to believe you're in control long enough to step past the point where the surface stops mattering. If the earth can swallow a man in a safe cave and keep him forever, what do you think it does with the ones who go looking for places that were never meant to be found?